Hello, Staten Island. Welcome to SIEDC Live. Now, I know what you're going to say. Todd, you're looking quite puffy today, but don't worry. I'm not Todd. Todd had to take his puppy. It's the worst day of puppy manhood, right? He had to take his puppy to get neutered. It's very unfortunate, but that's where Todd is today. So I'm like, as you saw, I'm usually behind the scenes. Now I'm thrusted up into the front of the scenes. So you could tell this isn't my wheel. Todd is so much better than this than I am. So let's bring in Jackie to help me out over here. How you doing this morning, Jacqueline?
You're excellent at this. You've given us some great sound bites.
Thank you. See, I'm good. I'm good at the pop in and out. You know, like to actually hold the show that is Todd's wheelhouse. I'm like the you know, like when you watch a game, I'm the color commentator. He's the one that actually tells you information, and I come up like John Madden and just go, you know, come up with the whoops and the whizzes and stuff. You know, so how was your?
That's an essential role, though. That's an essential role.
Absolutely. It's almost like a bass guitar, though. You can't play a bass guitar without the rest of the band, you know, otherwise you don't know what you're playing, you know. But thank you. Thank you. So how was your Memorial Day weekend?
It was good. It was nice to have, you know, a long weekend because at the SIEDC we've still been working, you know, full weeks, and we've had a lot on our plate. So it was nice to have, you know, the extra day off. It was a little bit of a weird Memorial Day weekend because, you know, you couldn't really celebrate with family and friends the way you normally would. But my husband and I had a nice time. You know, he had the day off as well. He's an essential worker with National Grid, so he's also been working hard through this whole thing. So it was nice to have an extra day off together. So we still made the best of it. We still, you know, ate barbecue and all of that. So it was good.
Great. We actually ordered from Sophia's, the Mexican place on Bay Street. It was great. They sent down bottles of margarita and like a whole. It was the best takeout for a place that you shouldn't be getting takeout. You know what I mean? It was really good, and to come all the way from Bay Street, and they were quick. So I enjoyed that. That was the first time I didn't cook since this whole quarantine, so it was fun.
Oh wow! Well, I know that you cook because you've inspired me a few times via your stories to cook. Yes. I know one weekend you inspired my Sunday sauce at like 8:30 in the morning, so I know you cook.
Yeah, well, we do a Gotham. We call it a Gotham Family Sauce Day. We do it 3 times a year. We bring the whole company because listen, our company and the people that work with us, we treat them like everybody's family. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's why it's hard to bring somebody in and then they have to move on. You know, we never want to hold anybody back, but it's like, you know, it's like you're with them so much and it's so many hours.
I know.
How do you not want to like feel them as family? You know what I mean? So it's hard, you know. So that's the thing. Yeah. So we got a great show today. We got Megan Nasso, marketing manager from the Nasso organization, and we have Dr. Alex.
Pizza Pia.
There we go. So without further ado, what do you say we get started? Or do you have anything else to say?
I just want to touch on one quick thing. So we have Megan Nasso, who is a part of the SIEDC Young Professionals Leadership Development Program. And I did want to mention that we are still at the SIEDC keeping our programs running. So if any of our audience today tuning in live or if tuning in at a later time as part of the Young Professionals Program, I just wanted to let them know that we are going to be sending out some virtual engagement opportunities for them. So Megan Nasso is actually a co-chair of that program. So we'll talk to her a little bit about that as well. But I just wanted to let anyone who's a participant in the SIEDC Young Professionals Program to keep an eye on their emails. We're going to be sending you some virtual opportunities this week.
That's great. Okay, let's bring in Dr. Alex.
Hello. How are you guys?
Good, very good.
Good. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
How was your Memorial Day weekend?
It was good. It's always nice to have a long weekend.
Nice, very nice. Okay, so let's get started here, Alex. Basically, who are you, and What is your business?
Sure, sure. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Alex Pisapia. I am a general dentist here on Staten Island, and I work with Dr. Craig Ratner at Exceptional Dentistry. So our office is located in Tottenville on the island, and we are a general dentist office, but we pretty much do everything from simple fillings to extractions, root canals, implant placement, smile makeovers, full mouth rehab, you name it, we do it.
So, Doc, I mean, this is interesting. This is actually something I was wondering: how are dentists? How are they working through this pandemic? How is your office doing through this through COVID?
Yeah, great question. So since this whole thing started, New York State has put some restrictions on the dental field and what we're really capable of doing. So they really have prevented us from seeing any patients in elective care. Any type of elective care, it basically needs to be postponed. So we were really only able to see our patients that are having true dental emergencies. Now, what that means is basically anyone who's having a severe dental infection, like a swelling, or severe dental pain. But any other type of procedure just has to be postponed until these restrictions are lifted. And that really poses two problems for dentists. Number one, and most importantly, our patients have dental needs that really aren't being addressed during this quarantine, and that poses a problem because these problems can snowball. Just because someone doesn't have an extreme dental emergency doesn't mean they don't need to be seen by a dentist in a quick matter of time. And secondly, and I don't need to tell you this, I'm sure you all know this, but financially it's a huge strain on businesses, and dentistry and a dental office is a business just like any other. And we have bills to pay, we have overhead, we have staff that needs to be paid, and when we don't have patients, we don't have revenue, and so it poses a huge problem for us. And so we've had to furlough all of our staff basically, until these restrictions are lifted. And we're still waiting from New York State to hear when we can open in a greater capacity. But for now, they still really have us only seeing patients on an emergency basis.
So, Doc, besides a cleaning, besides like going in for a cleaning and doing that, it's like, wouldn't everything fall under an emergency basis? I mean, it's your teeth.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why dentistry should have been considered essential from the start. It kind of just got lumped in with something non-essential, and it was really a mistake because there's so many patients that need us during this time, and we can't really provide our services. So.
That's amazing. It goes back to the point where it's like regular medical insurance doesn't cover dental. So they don't even think that, your teeth are essential. I mean, I guess, who needs to eat or chew or
right.
do anything?
Exactly. Activities of daily living. Yeah.
Who needs it? It's like, it's really like, blows my mind. So let me ask you, how are you preparing? I mean, we like to say that, with everybody else that, the faucet just turned off. You were going, the faucet shut down. How are you preparing yourself for that reopen? Are you forwardly booking appointments with clients saying, hey, we're probably going to be getting back to normal, or what the new normal will be in July? I could put you in. Are you waiting to book these appointments? Because I can imagine once you start, it's going to be like, people are going to be lined up outside like you're the newest nightclub, especially
Exactly.
to get cleanings,
Exactly.
So how have you been prepared?
Yeah, so great question. Basically, we've made a ton of changes to how we operate on a daily basis, and as you can imagine, being a dentist during this pandemic, it comes with a lot of risk. We're in a high risk group just due to the nature of our work. We're working in people's mouths, and most of the procedures we do generate some type of aerosol, and so we're considered high risk. And so we've made a ton of changes to the way we operate on a daily basis to sort of protect ourselves, protect our patients, and make them feel comfortable basically coming in during this time and getting dental work done, because that's really important to us as well. And so I'll just briefly go into some of the additions and changes we've made.
That was my question.
Yeah. So basically, any patient that gets an appointment, we will ask them a series of screening questions prior to their appointment. So we'll ask them if they've had exposure to a COVID patient, whether they themselves are experiencing any symptoms such as, cough, fever, shortness of breath, things of that nature, flu-like symptoms. And, once we ask them those questions, if there's no red flags, they get an appointment. And then, we're really trying to limit how many patients can be in the office at once. So we're trying to stagger our appointments. When a patient arrives at the office, we tell them to wait in their car until we call them and tell them we're ready for them to come into the office. That way we don't have multiple patients sort of in the same area at once. When they do come in, we take their temperature. They have to be masked, things of that nature. And when they come into the operatory, we ask them to rinse with peroxide or mouth rinse for a minute prior to us treating them. And then we also have started implementing a lot of PPE changes for us. So we have to now wear N95 masks. We have to have, just additions to what we normally do: gloves, eye protection. We now wear face shields for aerosol procedures. Disposable gowns for each patient now in between patients. And basically, we also have started using what's called a rubber dam. And what that basically is just a covering that isolates the one tooth that we're working on so that the rest of the mouth really isn't exposed. It's just the one tooth that's showing, and it limits any type of aerosols, that could be generated. We also have a new high-speed evacuation suction called an ISOVAC that helps us eliminate any type of aerosol that we can be creating. But yeah, those are just some of the biggest changes we've made. But it's definitely going to be an adjustment for sure.
Doc, that must be like really stressful to have, all that protection on. I mean, I go out when I'm outside and I have to wear a mask, and just to hold a conversation with somebody, I can't even. I start getting dizzy. I start getting lightheaded. I got to walk away. I'm like, I'm sorry. I either got to take this mask off or like not talk to you. It's just one or the other, So I feel you. I could imagine sitting in the chair, and not sitting in the chair, sitting over the chair and having to do something as stressful as you're doing with that. Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, so Doc, we're gonna drop you back in the green room. We're gonna pull up our next guest, but if you want to hang out, we'll get everybody up for a panel at the end.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Doc.
Thanks.
So that was Dr. Alex Piazzapia. Yeah. So let's see. So what's up, Jacqueline? How are you? So how did you got unmute? There you go. So how you doing? So that's interesting, right? Like I didn't even think of that. I was thinking that today because
I have to tell you though, it is reassuring to know that dental offices are taking this proactive approach to having all of this protection, because I will tell you, just as a patient on the receiving end, if I was to schedule an appointment, even if it was an emergency and I was in pain, given the current state of things, I'd want to know that the office was taking precautions like that. So I like that you'll have to fill out a form before you even schedule your visit to make sure you haven't had a fever and all of that, because then you're going into a safe space, because I would imagine working on someone's mouth is probably the most exposure that somebody would have to potentially get sick. So it's great to know that offices like Exceptional Dentistry are taking these precautions and proactive measures. I definitely think that that's a value.
No, it's definitely good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So your dog, it just snores like every once in a while. He pops on, but it's okay.
Sorry.
He's part of the show. So it is. That's news for me. Like it's like I was just thinking that this morning. I was like I got to go to a dentist, and I was like I wonder if they're open. So I think I just got my answer. So it's not technically an emergency yet. So I guess I have to wait, right?
I guess so.
So without further ado, let's bring Megan Nasso in.
Morning.
Hi, Megan.
I'm good. How are you?
Megan, how was your Memorial Day weekend?
It was good. It was a little weird because it was just me and my family, and we had a barbecue, and we're all looking at each other like something feels wrong because we always have a backyard party and a pool party. And it's usually around the time of my birthday, so there's usually cake out for my birthday. And this time it was a little weird. We're all just looking at each other like, this is we're not used to this. This is normally just a regular Sunday. This is weird.
I know, it doesn't feel the same.
No.
It doesn't feel the same.
No, but it was still nice to be with my family and to socialize with them. And, being in the house with them for 70 days actually brought us closer together. So no complaints there. Believe it or not, we didn't kill each other. I'm really proud of ourselves.
That's great. That's great, though. I mean, it's
Yeah.
nice to be able to look at your family and say, hey, I don't want to kill you today.
Exactly. Like, it was really great. I mean, I'm sure they want to kill me because I've had a very positive outlook on this whole pandemic. And they're like, you sound like a Disney princess. Shut up. But I mean, it's probably the better way to be, I guess, during a pandemic. I don't know. It's my attitude on it. So maybe they want to kill me and they just haven't told me yet. So who knows?
It's definitely better to be optimistic. It's like, because then what are you going to do, right? You're gonna just be depressed over something you can't change and you don't know what it is now. It's like you just have to wait and see.
Exactly. And I mean, time and time again, humanity has shown that we can overcome anything. I mean, in the Middle Ages, we had the Black Plague, which was 1,000 times worse than this virus, if you do your research. And they didn't have the medicine that we have or any sort of like technology ability to help them during that time. They really just had to wait out the plague was over. But here we are now with a virus, and we're able to work to overcome it with all this technology and this medical knowledge that we had that they didn't. So if they can overcome it in the Middle Ages, I'm sure we can overcome this now in present day. That's my way of looking at it.
I love your positivity. I love that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Megan.
Yes.
Let's tell our audience, who you are, a little bit about the NASO organization and your role there, because I know you always tell the story so well. So I know our audience would love to hear that.
Sure. So my name is Megan Nasso, and I work for the NASO organization, which is a family construction company. I'm the marketing manager. So my job is to just promote the houses that we have for sale, the houses that we have for rent, and all the commercial space that we have to rent. And everything we build, and we're really proud of it. I know for myself, especially, my grandfather came to this country in 1952, and he established his company in 1965 with the dream to provide for his family and his future family that he has not met yet. And he did so for so many years. He's built a lot of the Mid-Island and South. And my father took over in 1992, and he's been building with my grandfather. And God bless my grandfather, he's in his mid-70s and still on a job site yelling at everybody with my dad. It's kind of funny. And they've been doing a phenomenal job. And I came into the mix about 3 years ago, about last week. I was in college and I needed a job because I was home for school. And my dad told me that, if you're going to stay home from school, you're going to be an adult and get a job. I couldn't find anything at the time that I lost my last job. And so my father said, okay, come work for me for a little bit. I need a receptionist anyway. And I hated my receptionist job here at first, which I know sounds crazy, but I really had nothing to do. It was very quiet around here. I just answered the phone and took messages, and it wasn't something very invigorating to me. Then one day I was sitting here on my laptop and I just Googled the NASO organization. And the first thing that comes up was a Twitter page. And I was like, wow, my dad is really up to date with technology. Look at him go. And I opened the Twitter page, and the last tweet came out in 2006. And I was on it in 2017, and I was just like, good Lord. And so I did a little research on real estate marketing and just social media marketing and as a whole. And I found that there was a whole career there. And I just realized, this research for hours and hours that I was in the office, and I was just like, I have the ability to do this, and I had the education and I had the experience already with my resume and in school. So later that day, my dad came in the office, and I walked into his office and gave this very quick presentation about marketing and how I could help this company kind of go into this next phase of business, which is really more internet-based that my father could not bring to the table. And while I don't have a lot of experience on construction sites and in finance, I do have the ability to work with the two of them who have that knowledge to sort of market all that. And I learned so much from them that I didn't get in the classroom or through work experience, but now I do. And it's just amazing. And I love my job, and it's just a lot of fun to do. And it's really nice to be with my family because they are my biggest fans and supporters, and they never doubt me. At least I don't think they do. And they never say no to an opportunity when I present it to them, and they help me with my find where my mistakes are and how to better things, and they make me a better person and make me a better businesswoman, I think. And I'm really proud of the work I do.
That's a great story. So you're so it's a third generation business.
It is. Yes, it is. Yep.
I'm sitting here, and it kind of reminds me. Most people don't know that that I'm not just the film director. I'm also a contractor. I specialize in fireplaces. And yeah, like my grandpa started in '49 with a watermelon stand. It's a long story, but and then he built his first company, and here I am now. So. I understand where you're going through. It's like, job sites are closed. We can't go on sites. We can't go into homes. We can't go on new constructions unless it's one person at a time. And then even if that, because it all depends on certain situations. So, what is your company doing now, during this crisis?
Well, we're actually doing a lot of different things. I think what's really great is that my grandfather, my father built a company that's very broad in what it does. So, for example, in New York City construction, obviously that's paused. So we are anxiously waiting for our city officials to give us the okay to be essential again, and we can get on our job sites and start working on our future projects on the island to build a better Staten Island, as we say. But in New Jersey, where we have one commercial piece, we've been able to work because they have considered construction essential. And on top of that, we have a tenant in our commercial property, Harbor Freight, who has been distributing masks and, I believe, generators and all this other tools and equipment to first responders to battle this virus. And so we had to stay open. So we had to keep our building open and working so they can work in their space and provide all this equipment to first responders. So we're really proud of that, and that we were able to actually be able to work but not work at the same time in that sort of way. And we're really proud that we get to indirectly help our first responders in the best way that we can. So that there's that. And then for our residential rentals here on the island, we have our property manager, Genevieve, is just a phenomenal human being who has been working from her house, and she's been calling every one of our residents every day, just to have someone to talk to, because a lot of them live alone, and or they're older, and we call and see if they need anything, if we can help them with anything. The best way that we can, of course, practicing social distancing and all the other restrictions and guidelines that our city officials have given us. And she's been doing a great job at that. And we're very fortunate also that none of our tenants have actually had the coronavirus. We're all just waiting it out like the rest of us. So we're really grateful that, things have been okay in our residential area. And then in the marketing department, which is literally just me, I started a hashtag Build Hope, where I post on Facebook and Instagram just a positive quote with the hashtag Build Hope, just to kind of lift people's spirits and cheer people up during this time, especially because right now when you go on social media, everything's just the coronavirus and just all this sad news, and it doesn't do anything to anybody's spirits during this time. So I thought I'd just jump on the opportunity to help lift people's spirits, and I pull quotes from songs, poetry, the book I'm reading, or just go over any quote, and I just kind of design something that's positive, cheerful, and uplifting so when people do go on social media, they just see something that is a little different from just the virus news. It's something that's just cheerful and hopeful. And I hope people do look at these things and are just happier during their day. And so that's what we've been doing at the NASA organization during this time. So with a lot of moving parts. But we're all working remotely, and it's fun in a way.
That's great. That's a great story. That's nice. So we've been at these SIEDC meetings before the closure and stuff like that, and there's a rumor rumbling around. There's a rumor rumbling around you, and we're sit here, we're live in front of 5 million viewers, and I just have to confront you about this rumor.
All right, what's the rumor?
Set it straight. So I hear you wear a creative hat as well.
I do.
So what's this say here? You're an author?
I am an author, yes. End of 2019, I published my first book on Amazon. It is entitled The Second Irvin Allen. It is a YA fantasy book, young adult fantasy book that follows a mind reader who learns that he's not exactly a mind reader, and he needs to find out why he's not just a mind reader, and he needs to learn his place in the world, and he has this incredible destiny that he must fulfill. And It's the first of 4 books. It took me 10 years to write my first one and to publish it, which is crazy. So I was 11 when I started. And now I'm actually moving on to my second book, which is a sequel to the first one. It is entitled Kingdom and Chaos. And the goal is to have it out and for audiences and on Amazon summer of next year, most likely. I've had a lot of free time on my hands in these past couple of weeks, so I wrote like a good portion of it this pandemic.
So you're saying this is the new Game of Thrones?
No, that'd be great. It's like the kids' version of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
adult fantasy. It's kids version.
No,
so
it's
the kids Game of Thrones.
Yes, the kids Game of Thrones, definitely.
There you go.
Yeah, our main character Jimmy, he's 15 years old in the second book. So while he's saving the world, he's got to deal with like just the average ups and downs of a teenager. And it's kind of funny because now that I'm writing it as a professional and I'm older now and I'm not a teenager anymore, I just think it's really funny that the dynamic of like I have to save the world and do I have a crush on my best friend or not? I'm confused. What's a girl? And so it's just very fun. It's just fun to write it because I remember being like in high school and like very dorky and awkward, and obviously I wasn't saving the world, so I could just imagine the pressure of just trying to save the world and also trying to be a teenager. So I enjoy it a lot, and now I'm writing it when I'm older because I started writing this when I was 11. I'm very nostalgic of my own childhood, and to me it's just amazing. I was 11 years old and I had this dream, and here I am, 23. I just turned 23 on Friday, and I'm like, I made my childhood dream come true, and that's my motivation every day when I wake up in the morning. Just if I could do that, what else could I do?
That's nice. That's very
Thank you.
nice. Yeah, that's really nice. Like and it's nice because it's like you're a writer, and what's great about writing, it's you get to create your own worlds.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like you get to step out of this one and create it and where this world is going to go. So that's really nice. I'm gonna check out that book, and then yeah, so cool. Maybe I'll read it with my niece.
Oh, sounds good. And definitely, if I ever see you at a in-person SIEDC event, bring a copy, and I'll be more than happy to sign it.
Oh, great! Thank you.
Yeah, I love signing. Yeah, I love to sign it.
Okay, Megan, we're gonna bring Dr. Alex back in. Yep. How you doing, Doc?
Good.
What's going on? Okay, so we got 2.5 minutes left, and we're gonna end the show today with a little bit of a rapid fire. Well, it's actually just one rapid fire question. Okay, sure. So I think the topic today, and we were brought up between conversations back and forth. So now the future of this. When you look back in history, Megan brought up the other pandemics in history. Something good always came out of it, right? Like the Black Plague, really brought in sewers mainstream to be able to take the garbage out and so on and so forth. So what do you think the underlining positive that might change the world and come out of this? Ladies first. Megan, you go first.
I think we're going to see an upkeep in technology and how it's going to change everything, even education. I know a lot of kids are struggling right now with getting an education virtually, but I think this is just the beginning, and it always starts with a rough start. But in time, we'll see that virtual education could really be something useful and really can help a student and a teacher. And that's just one aspect. I also think business. I think in business, we've been a little more ahead than education, but I do think we'll see a lot of technology being used in a way that we never thought of using it before. And I'm really excited to see that.
Nice. Doc?
Yeah, I think we've seen a ton of personal protective equipment changes, and I think that those are there to stay. And that's a good thing. I think, you can never be too well protected. And so I do think that a lot of these changes will be here to stay even once we overcome this.
Great. Okay, on that note, thank you guys for joining us today. We're at 5 million viewers, and you guys have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
Bye. So that was another exciting episode of SIEDC Live. Be sure to stay tuned to Facebook at Gotham Trinity Productions.com for more content. You could check out Techie Geeks Facebook, also JMT Media. and also right here at SIEDC Facebook for continuing content through this crisis. Thank you. Have a nice day.